Hey everyone, this is GamerCat09 and this is a very different, interesting update video vlog thing of my experience that happened last night. So if you guys don't follow me on social media, you probably have no idea what happened, but yesterday, April 30th, John and I and a couple friends went to Nyack, New York last night to go see Game Grumps live. And it was spectacular. It was something unlike anything that we've ever done in our lives. And we had a blast. It was just, that's basically it in a nutshell. It was so much fun. Better than we expected, better than we hoped or anticipated, and definitely a moment to remember probably for the rest of our lives. So what came about, I wasn't really too upfront about this whole thing leading up to us going to see Game Grumps. 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I think, when the tickets went on sale, there was a whole spiel between Levity Live, which was the comedy club who was selling the tickets for Game Grumps, and I guess like another ticket venue website thing. Sites were crashing and everything, and a lot of people ended up not getting tickets thinking they did and they didn't kind of scenario. One of our friends actually had purchased a pack of 4 tickets, and I guess she planned on going with 2 other people and they bailed. So when she announced on Facebook that she was going and she, you know, got the ticket, she's like, I'm gonna go see Game Grumps. And I commented and I was like, oh wow, that's really cool, I'm jealous, you know, have a great time. Like, John and I were not anticipating ever going, you know, we thought, oh, that'd be really cool, but we're like, oh, you know, maybe not, you know, I don't feel like we're not the kind of person when it comes to events like that. Like, we won't fight for tickets, we won't get angry about it, like, it's just kind of something that was just casually done. So when our friend ended up having 2 spare tickets, knowing that I commented saying like, oh wow, that's really cool, have a great time, she reached out to us and invited John and I, like, do you guys want to come with us? And we're just kind of like, oh, okay. Like, it was just very random. We were just kind of thinking like, oh wow, we're gonna meet the Game Grumps. But over the past couple of weeks, it didn't really feel surreal until we actually went yesterday and we got there. It was our first time, first of all, ever being in the Palisades Center, which is in Nyack, New York, and holy shit. 4 levels of a mall. There's an ice rink, there's go-karts, there's like a Ferris wheel, there's zip lining, like climbing kind of things for kids and for adults, and it was just absolutely ridiculous. And we ended up doing 5 wits. We did the dungeon one, and that was also pretty cool. That's unlike anything we have in Pennsylvania. So we killed some time because we got there 2 or 3 hours earlier before we had to go meet Game Grumps, and then we met back up, got in the line, and we were VIP, which means we actually got to meet and greet with the Game Grumps. Now, leading up to this moment, I was pretty calm and collected and cool, you know, like you kind of have like a vision of what's going to happen, but like I said, never experienced anything like this before. We have never met anybody famous, and yes, I consider them famous. They're almost celebrity level, at least extremely popular, and by the time the moment came to meet them, when we were actually waiting inside Levity Live Theater, and we had our wristbands on, and we probably waited a good maybe 20 to 30 minutes for them to actually come out. And that's when the moment became so surreal. It became like, not even kidding, the whole entire event was a blur to me at that point. Actually, like, from just waiting to meet them up to actually meeting them, and then like I didn't snap out of that until we were already walking to our table to watch the show. And like, my heart was racing. I was sweating. I was like in kind of freak out panic mode. But, you know, you try to collect yourself and you try to go, okay, you know, what am I going to say? You know, how am I going to approach them? You know, kind of thing. And the nervous me went immediately to shake their hands, which I shook both of their hands. And then I realized, what the fuck am I doing? I want to hug these guys. Danny and Aaron are what I feel is a good definition of genuine in person. They're not like some upfront fake individual. They're very calm. They're very collective. You could tell that they're used to this. So they're used to people being nervous and acting weird and all that stuff. So it didn't make it as awkward, but I still felt really awkward about it. Looking back, there were a lot of things that I wanted to like say or do, and I didn't, because in the moment I just kind of freaked out and panicked, you know, like any first time person meeting them. I didn't even mention I had a channel. I was going to mention something and I didn't. I believe it was Aaron who commented on my t-shirt. I don't remember it, but I apparently said thank you. John remembers it, so there you go. I was wearing a Splatoon t-shirt and he was also wearing a Splatoon t-shirt. He was wearing his Callie and Marie shirt and he goes, you know, that's a really cool shirt. Oh, thank you. I was just like, you guys are awesome. And I said probably the most awkward, nerdiest freaking thing that I regret saying. Like, I just blurted out, even my cat loves you. That's what I said. And then it was one of those moments that in your head you're like, oh, I should tell him this. And then you actually say it and you're like, why the fuck did I do that? That is such an awful thing to do. But luckily John backed me up and elaborated why. And it is true. The reason why I said that was because their channel, they've been around for maybe 3 or 4 years. And we've had Cooper for about 3 years now. So when he was a kitten, he got into this routine of every time we sit down to watch Game Grumps, he knows to kind of like chill out and relax because we're eating dinner and we're watching TV. So he knows the moment he hears that theme song in the beginning of all their shows, he just immediately goes up to his cat tree, sits down, and like he'll watch the TV. It's really adorable. But in that moment, I was just like, my cat loves you. I was just kind of like, wow, I sound like a fucking freak right now. But we got hugs, we got autographs, and the whole moment was just spectacular. I wanted to say so many things. I just could not gather myself enough to like talk to them like a sane individual. I'm sure a lot of you, if you've ever been in that situation, you know, same thing happens. And then we went in and we sat down at our tables, and our table was actually right in front of the stage, dead center, right in the middle, right next to where they were sitting and right next to the screen. My only complaint of the whole entire event was where I was sitting. I was the seat closest to the stage on the one side of the table, and in order for me to actually see the games they were playing, I had to look all the way up, and it hurt my neck pretty bad. Like, even my neck is still kind of sore today. But everything about Levity Live, the whole arrangement, I think was done pretty well. It wasn't out of control. The people are just so incredibly polite. They're friendly, they're easygoing, and I was shocked about that reaction from the fan base. You know, when you normally go to concerts or any kind of other event, you know, you always experience that one person who's being an absolute dick or rude or something, and we didn't experience any of that at all. If I accidentally bumped into somebody, you know, I said, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And they're like, okay, no problem. And like brushed it off like nothing. And like someone had said, like one of the fans said at the end of the night during the Q&A, it's like we are a giant family. And that kind of reminded me of you guys, how I would like to think that in that moment, how their fan base is and how they all treat each other. I like to think of you guys as the same thing. So that was kind of touching to me. I was just kind of like, wow, this is getting pretty emotional. It's pretty crazy how, you know, a bunch of random people can just come together because they see somebody from YouTube that they love and adore and appreciate their work, and then just equally all share that as a whole. It was just phenomenal. And so we watched the entire event. They played Super Mario Party 10. They brought people up from the audience to like play players 3 and 4, and they like divided half of the audience. So like one half was player 3 and the other half was player 4. So our teams were either Toad or Waluigi, and John and I were on Waluigi's side, and our two friends were, because we were down the middle of the table, were Team Toad. None of us won. Aaron won. But it was so awesome. They did a Q&A. You know, they weren't afraid to like, you know, get up in people's faces and like, you know, high five you. If you asked for a hug, they gave you a hug. Like, they were just so super sweet. And everybody and everything and the whole entire event just went so incredibly well. And it's an experience I'm probably going to carry with me. And it sounds really super lame coming from me, coming from this itty bitty teeny tiny channel compared to their monumentous, like, capital of Let's Plays. And yes, I do say that because even though they don't establish themselves as a Let's Player, they pretty much are a Let's Player. I like to think that they take the whole Let's Play genre and they revamped it and they spread it so wide that it just works for them. You know, the fact that they not only do Game Grumps, but their, you know, whole system is Game Grumps. They do Steam Train, you know, they have Grump Out, they have Guest Grumps, they have Kitty Cat Gaming, they have a bunch of stuff that they're actively working on all the time. And I never want to be like that. I think that's way too much unless you have a variety of people to collab with, which they do. They do have a lot of people working for them and going for them, so that's pretty cool. But holy crap. It was so amazing. Like, I can't even put into words how I felt about the whole situation. But, you know, even though this channel is so much older compared to Game Grumps, I've watched Egoraptor and Danny Sexbang far before they even got together to do Game Grumps. I like to think that Danny and Aaron are just as human and normal as we are. You know, we all have our flaws, and it's one thing that I can vouch for in, you know, the essence of like all of this and everything you see. Everything that I record is what I want you to see, but I never hit that play button when I have a bad day. I never hit that record button when something is going wrong in my life. Like, I don't record John and I fighting. I don't record, you know, me coming home from a really bad day at work that sends me into tears. I don't do that, because when you operate a channel or when you're in front of a lot of people, you control what people see. And that's kind of what you have to do in order to establish a certain direction of what you want people to see and what you don't. That's just how it works, you know? Like, it's the same exact thing when it comes to movies, is that, you know, they record a scene, and if the scene wasn't good, you won't see it. Or if it was funny, it'd be a blooper, and that'd be about it. But if it doesn't make the cut, you don't ever see it. It never sees the light of day. Same thing when we record our games, when we do our Let's Plays, our vlogging, anything. So I can vouch for them. You know, I don't hate them for being an average human being, that they have maybe some skeletons in the closet that maybe we don't know about. And that's perfectly okay with me. I like to think the grass is greener on the other side. But it was great. Everyone had a great time. Everybody was super nice to each other. And after the event, when all of us were filing out of the place and, you know, the next last show was coming in, we were like in the halls and stuff of the mall, and like just a bunch of random people who were all there. We were all high-fiving each other. We were like, oh yeah, good game, you know, thanks player 3, player 4 kind of thing. And I thought that was so super cool. The fact that, you know, we even recognized everybody who was there, even when we were walking through the mall, just going to the bathroom or like hitting a store. And I thought that was super cool. So that's my experience meeting the Game Grumps, and I'm sure you can, I probably will put pictures up. I'm sure by the pictures that you've seen that it was pretty cool. I did not record any video, but it's really cool. And it pretty much kind of gave me that little bit of motivation and inspiring drive to kind of do a little bit more with this. I don't know if I'll ever be like that or be as big. And if I don't, that's fine. But I like to think that maybe one day I can, you know, maybe have other YouTubers on my channel and like do stuff together and be a little bit more active in the YouTube community than I am. You know, like I've said, if I'm able to make this a thing, then that's great. If I can't, then I can't. And that's just as simple as that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this special little vlog, and I hope that you're able to take something away from it. If you guys watch Game Grumps, awesome. If you don't, subscribe to them. And this, you know, I'm not being paid to do this. Like, they're pretty funny. And if you don't like them at all, I also respect you for it, and that's perfectly fine. So until next time, until the next video, the next vlog, let's play anything. I will see you guys next time. Until then, have a wonderful, wonderful day. And I'll see you guys really soon. Bye-bye.